Welcome to Just Break Up, the podcast about love, heartbreak, and all the relationship advice you don't want to hear. My name is Sierra DeMulder.
And I'm Sam Blackwell. And today we're going to answer a letter from somebody whose best friend is now living with his assaulter. But before we begin, we just want to give you our Surgeon General's warning, which is that Sierra and I are not licensed mental health practitioners.
No, we are not professionals. We are not trained in any of this. So please take our advice as you see fit in your own life. We're only here to offer our humble musings to hopefully shed some understanding and maybe some laughs about the incredibly rewarding but mostly confusing experience that is love.
All right, let's get into today's letter. So today's letter comes from Billy, whose pronouns are he, him, who is writing from Phoenix, but formerly somewhere in Colorado. Just a content warning for this letter, it does have descriptions of sexual assault. Dear my two pretty best friends, oh, thank you so much. Thank you for being there with me through the good, the bad, and the ugly. TLDR, should I, he, him, stay friends with someone who's living with my assaulter? The basic backstory is, in April of 2023, the person who was my best friend, we can call him Bryce, he, him, at the time, assaulted me at a party. We were both drunk, but it didn't seem to me that either of us had had that much. Apparently, he blacked out, though, because when I confronted him, he said he didn't remember anything about that night. I remembered it in excruciating detail. I spent a lot of time processing how I felt about all of this, but I officially ended our friendship in May of 2023. All of it was even more complicated because I had romantic feelings for Bryce at the beginning of our friendship, but he rejected me. In order to keep our friendship safe for both of us, I put up boundaries regarding physical touch and emotional intimacy. Basically, I just didn't say it back when he told me that he loved me between us. So the assault at the party was a double, triple, gazillion whammy of pain and confusion. Bryce and I were two of a friendship trio. We can call the third person Alex, they, them. Alex is who I confided in first after the assault. To be honest, I don't know the exact details of how their relationship changed. It was on and off for the entire rest of the year, but they also explored romantic feelings and hooked up at some point. I did not know about this until June 2024, though. Eventually, in December 2023, Alex stopped talking to Bryce as well. Alex and my relationship was definitely different during this time, but we were still friends. We reconnected fully in March 2024, and things were fine for a few months, but on my birthday, by the way, I'm also a June baby, woo, Alex told me that they started talking to Bryce again. I said whatever, I just don't want to hear or know anything about it. At the end of June, I moved back home, and Alex told me that they'd be moving in with Bryce because they were both looking for a place, and it, quote, just worked out. I explained that I was having a really hard time dealing with them living together, and they asked if we could talk about it, but I needed to take space to process, so I said a tentative goodbye and told them I would reach out when I was ready. But since they were already moved in, I felt like there was nothing that anyone could change about the situation. That's the current state of things. I don't know what to do. I really value my friendship with Alex. We're both leftists and queer people of color, which was hard to find at my rich, white, liberal arts college. We finally got to a secure place where we talked to each other about things like this, and I know from their perspective, me not communicating is breaking that promise and ghosting, basically. They texted me a few days ago checking in, but I don't know what to say. I know I can't just string them along for months while I try to come to a resolution. I want to be Alex's friend, but the idea of FaceTiming them knowing Bryce's bedroom could be right next to theirs makes me feel sick to my stomach. The worst part of all of this is that I know I would be happier if both these people were in my life. Help, please. Yours truly, Billy.
Oh, my darling Billy, thank you so much for writing us, for listening, and for trusting us with this letter. We feel really deeply honored to answer it. And we feel sad with you, for you. We feel confused and frustrated. I think that the many factors of this letter are disappointing to us as outsiders. We're disappointed that your friend who knew you had romantic feelings for him took advantage of you at a party. We're disappointed that your other friend chose to pursue, we're disappointed that your other friend decided to not only pursue a friendship with this person, which we can get into the nuance of that after the break, but really we're disappointed that this friend chose to move in with this person and then tell you after the move in. It all feels very hurtful and disappointing. And Sam and I see between the lines of this letter of all of this emotional labor and justification that you're doing to keep the peace, to keep these people in your life. So I guess I think our biggest goal today is to just affirm the fact that this is all really disappointing and frustrating, and you did nothing to deserve it. And it's unfair that you're put in this position by both parties. So we're going to get into a lot more. I am just scratching the surface here, but please know we're so happy that you're here, and we will be right back in just a minute.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Yeah, I think I just want to offer you so much love and care in this particular moment. I think your experience of being assaulted is so terrible, especially by a friend, and especially by a friend that you had feelings for. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that happened to you, and that your friend betrayed you like that, took advantage of you like that. And I'm also so sorry that your friend Alex, who you confided in about this experience, doesn't seem to be hearing how painful and difficult that experience was for you, and that, this person, Bryce, is not a person that you want to be around, that you don't want to hear about him, that you don't want, understandably, to have interactions with the person who sexually assaulted you. Like, I think that's such a reasonable thing to ask. I think it's so justifiable that you would not want to hear about, be around, experience the person who did this to you. And I think it's not unreasonable for you to ask that your, best friend, your close friend, not have interactions with the person that assaulted you. I think sometimes we, on this podcast, understandably kind of like push back on some of the ideas of like, well, people in your life get to make their own decisions about what they want, blah, blah, blah. Right. And absolutely, Alex still gets to make decisions about what they want in their life. Like, that is absolutely still true. But I think it's just so understandable and not too much or asking for too much to say, like, please don't be friends with the person who assaulted me. Right. Like, that seems like such a baseline friend ask, And if I were in your shoes, and if somebody that I was close friends with decided to move in with the person who assaulted me, I would similarly be like, what the fuck are you doing? And question whether or not I could be friends with that person. I would be so deeply hurt by that. And I'm frustrated on your behalf that Alex seems to not grasp the severity of this situation, and to think that, oh, well, let's just keep talking about it is somehow the solution to what is a deeply hurtful act that they committed against you, to prioritize their living with this person who they don't even like that much over your feelings about them and your relationship. And that's frustrating for me. Like, I'm so disappointed by so much in this letter, and none of it is about you, right? Like, I am not disappointed in you in any way, but I am so deeply disappointed by who these two people who claimed at one point to be your friends, and are, at least one of them is still claiming to be, but making these decisions that are just so hurtful and so dismissive of what you experienced. And I want to just offer you all sorts of love and support and say, like, you didn't deserve this. You don't deserve to have friends that treat you in this way. And I'm so sorry that they're doing this. I don't know what is going through either of their heads to make this seem like a good idea, but I just want you to know that I see how shitty of a situation this is, and I'm here with you saying, like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah. I was saying to Sam earlier before we press record that, like, I think Sam and I have sort of made it our life's mission to find the nuance and to see that everybody's on their own journey and all of those things. And in this situation, I'm just not seeing how that nuance is serving us, truthfully, right? You don't need this abuser in your life. And I'm not confident. I'm pretty sure that both of these people, including the friend that just moved in, that these people are not worth the emotional labor it would require for you to feel safe and secure in this one wild and precious life that you have. And I think we feel so somber because I think we're here to grieve that with you, because this grief is real and it's normal and it's hard earned and it's never going to not suck. It's never going to not suck making the decision, drawing the boundary that isolates you from people who you wish never disappointed you in the first place. What's so crushing about this letter is the last line is that you would be happier if they were still in your life. Yeah, we would be happier if the people around us didn't hurt us and disappoint us. And we would be happier, maybe it would feel neater and nicer if we just, forgot about the pain that they caused us in the name of niceties. I think that's normal and understandable. And the reality is boundaries create loneliness. But I think I also want to remind you in this moment of grief and reckoning that is a very narrow outlook, a very narrow scope on what is ultimately a gift in your life. Because like I said before, I don't think about the emotional gymnastics that you would have to do in order to feel secure with this friend again without pretending. Truly without pretending, without forgoing and faking it just a little. Think about all that labor that would cost you. And then why I say that it's a narrow scope is because it's lonely now. But there are friends out there who, like Sam said, would never think about doing this. There are friends, and more importantly, there are friends out there who, if they were in a situation where they were able to rebuild a relationship with somebody who had, assaulted someone or whatever bad fucking thing that they did, like the fact that this friend moved in and then told you is another really big tell to me. That it's not like they went to you first and said, I'm thinking about doing this. How would that make you feel? And even the vulnerability of saying, I'm thinking about doing this because this is where I'm at in my life and it makes me feel really guilty because I'm afraid to lose your friendship if I put you in this position. There's a thousand other ways that this could have gone down. And I don't think any of them are worth this level of conflict in these friendships. And I want to say that while honoring the importance that these friends have played in your life. I know what it's like to find that kindred spirit and to have that person who can connect with you on your lived experiences. I mean, that's literally this fucking podcast, is that we all need other people and we need to be seen in our experience and validated in that. So like, I'm honoring the importance that these friends have had in your life. And I'm also telling you that there are friends out there who would never think about doing what these friends did to you. And that's sad. I wish I felt more empowered in saying that. Instead, I feel grief. I'm grieving this with you.
Definitely. And, I think Sierra is absolutely right, where it's going to be impossible for you to be in relationship with this person without having to pretend, right? Without having to make yourself small or to take your emotions out of the equation and pretend like they aren't important or don't need tending to. And, what Alex has proven is that if you do that, right? If you take your emotions out of it, if you pretend like everything is fine, they're going to take advantage of that, right? When they told you that they were still hanging out with Bryce, you said, whatever, Just don't tell me about it, right? That was you pushing down on that was you pushing down on emotions that I think are really understandable and need tending to, which is that, like, of course it hurt your feelings that they were talking to your assaulter, right? And then when you did that, right, when you tamped down those emotions, Alex said, okay, great, this is free reign for me to go another step further, right? For me to take this to the next level, to not just be friends with this person, but to move in with them. And so I want to say that, like, if you have this idea in your head that maybe I can do this if I just tamp it all down, if I pretend like everything's fine, I can have this person in my life. What I want to say to you is that this person has proven that when you do that, they just go beyond what you have already been tamping down on, right? Like, they take it to the next step. They use that to their advantage to get what they want. And that's not a trustworthy thing, right? And so even if you want to preserve this relationship by just pretending like everything's fine, this person is going to do what they're going to do, right? They say that they want to talk to you about it. They want to dig into it. They want to figure it out, but they don't want to figure it out. They want to do what they want to do and have you be okay with it, which I think is not a sustainable way to be in a friendship with someone.
And I think the nuance here for me is that you can understand that this friend has 100 reasons why they're moving forward with this friendship and roommate situation that are outside of the scope of your life, right? Like, the nuance is you can see that people have 1,000 reasons for what they do, right? And it's knowing that and understanding that they are not worth the swallowing and the labor that would have to be done in order to feel safe and trust them.
For sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And Sam and I also, like, however you want to proceed with this is right. Like, you are in charge here. You can decide what your boundaries are. And if you can reach more empathy for them, as well as personal preservation and a sense of safety and trust around them, then we want you to have these friendships, right? Like, the world is messy and complicated, and people are that, period.
For sure. And
also, as your, like, queer siblings across the internet, we're sitting here and thinking, we would never do this to you, right? There are people out there who would never do this to you. And these friends already seem like they're bringing a lot of, I don't want to say baggage, because we all have baggage, right? We all are complicated. I just don't know if this is worth the labor. I've said this like 20 times, but I don't know if this is worth the labor for you.
For sure. And I think we're talking about this kind of...
That it would require of you.
Yeah. I think we're talking about this in kind of black and white, right? We're not getting into the nuance because sometimes we have to think in black and white in order to create the necessary space for us to be able to find the nuance. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's like... Have to,
you have to put yourself first then to be able to fully and truly humanize everyone involved, which includes humanizing yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you even say in your letter, right? Like, you know, they want to keep talking about it, but I'm like, nothing's going to change about it. And I think that is like so real. Absolutely. And I also think that your feelings are worth tending to and expressing, even if situations don't change. You know, that was like such a profound thing that one of my therapists told me, was when I was having conflict with a friend and was like, well, I'm not going to tell them about it. I'm not going to talk about it with them because nothing's going to change about the situation. And she said, your feelings matter whether or not the situation is going to change, right? Your feelings deserve to take up space in this friendship or relationship, even though it might not change the outcome. And like, where did you learn that your feelings are only justified if they change other people's behavior, right? And I want to say that to you in this moment too, right? Like, I don't know that you need to express these feelings to Alex because, again, like Sarah said, they don't seem like a super safe place for you to put that emotion, to put that labor into. But I want to say to you that even though the outcome of this isn't going to change, your feelings deserve to take up space in your life and in the lives of people who care about you. And that's not true just with this particular friendship, but with all future relationships and friendships you're going to have, right? Your feelings deserve the tending to, the care that they need in order to be integrated for you, to be something that you can hold. And I'm so sorry that these two friends have told you over and over through their actions or through their words that your feelings don't matter, but they matter to me, and they matter to Sierra, and they matter to everyone who's listening to this podcast right now. And I want to make sure that in your life, you have people that are going to be able to see those feelings and hold those feelings and see that they are worth paying attention to and worth changing behavior for when it needs to happen. Because that, for me, is what actual true friendship looks like, what actual relationships look like. And unfortunately, these two people aren't able to do that for you. And they're teaching you, I think, what you believe to be true about yourself, which is that if I just tamp down on everything and don't have those feelings, don't have those opinions, don't have those things that I need to express, then everyone will be fine and we'll just get along. And that's not actually true. That's not actually how friendship and relationships get formed. So again, like, this just sucks. This is just such a shitty situation that you have been put into by these two people who you loved and who you trusted and who have betrayed that love and trust. And it's just a deep sadness and disappointment and grief that I think Sierra and I are sitting in, and a genuine feeling that you deserve better and that there are better and more fulfilling friendships out there for you that aren't with these two people who have proven themselves unworthy of the love and attention that you've given them.
Exactly. And we love you so much. Thank you so much for writing.
Yeah. We hope that this helps. All right, everyone. It is Friday, and on Fridays, we do our blind date, which is when we try and set you up with something that we think you're really going to like. This week, our blind date is...
It is a documentary on Netflix that came out at some point in this year. I don't know if it's already been like super celebrated or not. I haven't had Netflix
Sure.
all year. And it's Sam and I's like MO to be on to things really late. Hey, at least I'm still in the right year.
That's right.
But this recommendation is actually coming to you from my hot, secure wife, Willow.
So hot, so secure.
She saw the documentary Outstanding, A Comedy Revolution, which is on Netflix, that explores the history of LGBTQ plus stand-up comedy.
Oh, cool.
And how like queer comedy has been used in activism and how it's changed like the social landscape. And it has some of the queer comedy elders, as well as new up and coming people, Lily Tomlin, Wanda Sykes,
Cool.
Susie Eddie Izzard, Rosie O'Donnell, Margaret Cho, and more. Fortune Feinstein.
Yeah.
And she said it was really moving and really funny. And truthfully, she watched it with a friend who she went to go visit. What's up, Buddha? And we don't have Netflix, so I can't watch it.
Got it.
But y'all should. So it's called Outstanding. It's on Netflix. A documentary about queer comedians.
Love it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like more content from us, or if you would like access to our monthly office hours, you can support us on Patreon. If you support us on Patreon for as little as $5 a month, you'll get an additional bonus weekly episode, as well as access to those monthly office hours. That's patreon.com/justbreakuppod.
You can slide into our DMs, send us your favorite relationship memes, but most importantly, you can submit your questions about all matters of the heart at justbreakuppod.com, which is also where you can find our merchandise.
Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review. This literally keeps our mics on and helps us reach more brokenhearted souls who need two random strangers giving them relationship advice.
Just Break Up is a production of Duvid Media, original music recording, editing, producing, all magical things by our good friend Spencer Worth Davis. Make sure to check out his music and his podcasts. And remember, boundaries isn't about villainizing someone else or making a situation black and white. Boundaries can include acknowledging that this other person is on their own journey, that they have their own motives that we will never truly, fully understand. And also, we do not have to accept their behavior in our life. It's a yes and situation. You can approach all personal conflict by recognizing everybody's got their own shit. Everybody's has their own reason for doing things, and we don't have to accept that behavior just because we are capable of humanizing them. And if all else fails,
just break up.